Everything I discover in myself through the practice of shamanism, through the Ayahuasca and through other methods, it has remained inside of me.
My head was like, my God, I think too much, you know, so it was such a struggle. Yeah, being able to just be in the truth in that moment without my thoughts about problems or anything.
Ayahuasca, it just helps you to understand that something is much bigger than this life on the planet.
When you separate a lot in the ceremonies and the practice, you make mistakes and there's a lot of work to do. How this ayahuasca reacts to the shaman world.
You just start playing the violin and then I feel my whole insides are being squeezed.
Yeah, I just feel like you are really holding everybody safe together, making this amazing process possible.
Nina, you have been with us in the jungle. In certain periods, you have made a very constant practice with us. So I would like to tell you, because for me, everything I discover in myself through the practice of shamanism, through the Ayahuasca and through other methods, everything that has been revealed to me, for example, this marriage with Arutam, with the Great Spirit, it has remained inside of me. And when I have these long periods of retreats and loneliness, being inside of myself, somehow this strange peace and union remains and remains, and it's really magic. Has this happened to you, for example, in our long retreats in Ecuador, in our center, or in other moments?
No. I mean, it has happened during retreats, but also after coming home, just sniffing tobacco, and it was just the vibration of the whole jungle was with me in that room, and it was just like transformed into the jungle surrounding me. It was beautiful. So I think it's really a little bit like Khalil said. It's like. You always talked about empty yourself, and I remember myself was lying there, was like, how can I empty myself? You know, it was really, my head was like, my God, I think too much, you know, so it was such a struggle, and I really hated you for saying that if you're thinking, you're not in ceremony. I was like, what, you know? So, and then at some point, I think through your prayers, I felt like this stillness. Talking, you know, it was just like I could feel the room, I could feel like the spaciousness just in the silence, and it was just something I could connect with, and through all this practice in the jungle, especially in the jungle, because nature is helping you to lift the vibration of this feeling of life, is just increasing my stillness, and also the connection with just like the universe, you know, it's not just the planet, it's like bigger, even bigger. So I really find myself so many times just being in nature and being able to connect, especially I think through all the practice in the jungle, because like if I just hear one bird, I'm like, wow, just connecting and just being in the moment, and just really enjoy, yeah, being able to just be in the truth in that moment without my thoughts about problems or anything. It's just really very pure, a very pure feeling, and I think this is kind of what you gain while you practice so frequently, is because you learn how to maintain much better from ceremony to ceremony this state, and you really want to kind of turn your life around, that you're able to maintain this state. So for me it was like I wanted to be as close to nature as possible, so it's the way I live. I changed for maintaining this feeling. Also with the eating and everything, it's not a task anymore to have a diet. It's more coming naturally, like it's just coming with the practice. For me, in the first year, I came twice in 1 year, and after this, I came to every ceremony. So I could really feel the difference, because like those 2 times, I really had to like start from, not from zero, but to like, you know, there was like so much time in between. I had to recap kind of what I was living through in the first ceremonies. It's much easier for me to have more ceremonies and reconnect, and it just deepens and deepens and deepens. So it's, for me, it's the way to practice.
Yeah, I have noticed when you separate a lot the ceremonies and the practice, you make mistakes, and then more mistakes and more mistakes over. And then when after months you come again to go deep in yourself, using the ceremonies, and there's a lot of work to do. You are again very hard, very heavy, you need to purge, you need to heal yourself. And then after a sacrifice, you find that stillness you mentioned and that peace, right?
Yeah.
Can you believe that girl that once started
No, seriously.
like years ago?
Completely.
You're talking about the stillness, the union with the universe,
beautiful, right?
nourishing, how nature is nourishing us. Can you believe this?
I mean, I was always very close to nature. Nature was always like my remedy. It was like nature is the thing, you know. But it's very different if you're in nature with all your thoughts and all your stress and all your being, you know, like so caught up in yourself. And now it's like you're really open to what nature is offering, like just so freely, you know. So it's yes, it's very beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, when I first came, I had really no idea. I had been to one ceremony before, and so I had like an interesting experience where the shaman was kind of like a guru. And I didn't have that experience with you at all. You felt so like not grandiose, I guess. And this was like so comforting to me, because sometimes I find that difficult. And you weren't like having a huge ego, you know, so like it's almost like you were able to hold the space for everybody. The interesting thing for me is like all of the different things that you were doing during the ceremony, the first couple ceremonies, like I really had no idea what the hell was going on. You know, like, and I was like, wait, what are all these sounds and these instruments? And like, wow. And,
something happens?
No, but it's interesting because like when I think you're in the beginning, you can't hear what you're doing. Like you're not open to it. And yeah, I came once with my husband the first time, and I think we both had the same experience the same night, and maybe even because he was here, you know, just feeling like more open and safer. And we just had this experience where we could hear the music. We could hear it, and like in a way that we had never, that especially me, because I'd been to many ceremonies at that point, but I just couldn't hear it. And that's wild to me, like that I couldn't hear it. And yeah, just this kind of existence on two different planes almost. Do you know what I mean? Like that is happening in the ceremony. And yeah, I just feel like you are really holding everybody safe together. And this is what it feels like. You are really making this amazing like process possible. And one of my ceremonies, like I just was having kind of a deep connection to like how a lot of people deal with like quite a bit of mental sickness, you know, and this crazy thing that you do where you are willing to go around to so many different places trying to help people. Really beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
First time when I came, my idea of a shaman, it is a person to whom you go for healing and for guidance also. And now what I think a shaman is. A shaman is the person who can maybe show you the way, get you back into the deepest truth whenever your mind gets attached into the illusion of the suffering of this world or of the enjoyment of this world, anything which is out of balance. The shaman is the person, I would say, who would show you the stillness and just point you to this stillness and then tells you, you are able to go there, stay there and enjoy. This is how I see it, even though I never asked what is really a shaman. Not sure if you agree with me or not. Yeah, I feel it's much more than what I was thinking about the healing aspect of the shaman. He is the person that just confirms, gives you the opportunity to reach this, I would say, even divine union, and then confirm all what is true and just discard from your life what it isn't. And of course the chants, the music, this is all helping.
Yeah, there is a technique between how the shaman is singing and working and how the ayahuasca reacts inside of you, right?
Exactly. I experienced it many times when I was like really struggling and suffering with some things that I was thinking that are really real and there and physically making me suffer, and I feel the suffering, and then you just start playing the violin and then I feel my whole insides are being squeezed and
absolutely.
And then 2 minutes later I am outside throwing out the vomit and just almost not feeling even the weight of my body. It's like a relief that's incredible. Yeah.
For me, yeah, it's very important how, because the ayahuasca in a time it has a presence, a vibration, a way how it affects us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the most important is the person, the shaman, how the shamans really, how this ayahuasca reacts to the shaman world. My main master was my grandfather Himbikit, Francisco Himbikit, and the way how he transmitted me the lineage, the way how the Natem react to his voice and his flowings, his arrows, his syntax. It was absolutely amazing. It marked the difference. And the shaman has this peculiarity, how makes the Natem react to his voice, and it's amazing. Tanya, I would say that you are a passionate ayahuasca drinker.
Yes, that's true.
I like it a lot. I agree with you. So I have seen how you have gone through a wide spectrum of feelings and situations and emotions, up, down, beauty, balance, harmony, disaster, and everything.
It's true.
You're one of the persons, the bravest explorers in this world I have ever met. Yeah,
I agree, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think you are the right person to ask.
Yes.
How do you think ayahuasca helps the people? Why is it so necessary?
No, for me, exactly, it's to understand how we, who we are, what is happening on this planet, like what is what is reality, and is, for example, I think it's the end of the world. I have so many problems. I come here and I meet the different world. Like I'm with ayahuasca, I understand that this is nothing. It's my problems is absolutely nothing. Okay, they still I have to fix and everything, but I don't suffer with my heart about them anymore, and I feel like free. And it's just like a computer game. You have to do things, and it's nothing to do with suffering from different problems or whatever relationship. And ayahuasca, it just helps you to understand that something is much bigger than this life on the planet, and it's just all this is nothing important. All your things is important, of course, but it's something just so much bigger to learn about, and it just makes life, how to say, more interesting, and it just helps you to understand that it's not only this little sotium, it's everything on this planet, so it's much more, and you kind of, I don't know, you're happier after these experiences.